Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. It's episode 168. Which one is it? Okay. Last week we were here. It was 168. I think we've done 3 168s. How many 168s have we done?
No, it's 160. It's not 168. It's 169.
Hey,
I don't know where to get 168.
Should we ask the new Tom or should we ask Tom?
Can you text new Tom and ask him what episode this is? Because he would know.
He's in Belgium. He doesn't know anything right now.
What? He's living the dream.
He's in Belgium.
All he needed was one Compound Podcast to get him a trip to Belgium, huh? We're living the good life. This is episode 169, apparently. Tom's back. As you can hear, he's screaming into the microphone to assert his dominance because he didn't like that new Tom came, and Dakota really liked him. This episode is presented by Parse Rum. As always.
I felt bad that you kept calling him New Tom, and I wanted you to call him at least once by his actual name.
Yeah, Alex. I felt bad that Alex didn't get any love for his actual name. Alex did a great job last week. Thank you.
I kept calling him New Tom, and then Dakota on purpose say, "Yeah, Alex." Yeah,
because I felt bad. I was like, "All right, like we gotta say his name."
I thought it was a funny bit.
It was, but I felt
good
bad.
chop.
Yeah, chop.
Good chop.
I love Parse. You love Parse. Go get your Parse. Benny's at your local liquor store. Ask for it. It's a great time of year to put a little bit of that Parse 3-year into a pina colada when you're out by the beach in Belgium. Maybe go to Belgium. Maybe take it with you. I actually had a buddy down in Austin who was at a restaurant. He takes a sip of Parse not a sip. He makes himself a Parse drink every time I hit a homer. So like when I hit a homer, he texts me like Parse, and he makes himself. So he was at a restaurant when I hit a pump the other night, and he was like trying to convince the bartender that they need to source Parse, which I love.
How about that homer tying you guys up on the air? I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm coming for you.
Well, I'm waiting for Zack to tie you up with his big league homers, and I don't know if I want to take out the minor league ones once he does or not.
That's going to be a tough feat.
Oh, come on. Oh, that was one of my notes I wrote down. One of the notes I wrote down is I need an investigation into Miami for the ball not getting out.
It's so deep out there.
What are the numbers on that? 408. It was like 103 at 30.
That's tough. I hit one this year there, like 104.5 at 35, maybe to right center, and I was like, it's like right at the wall,
dude. It's like it's heavy air in there. Like it's a dome, but like I was absolutely soaked every inning. Like when you're on the field, like I'm drenched in that building.
It's gross in there, yeah.
And I mean that swing, like it's loud when you hit, especially like if someone gets one in there, it's like, whoa, that sounds sick. And like I hit it and I was like, I mean, that's as loud as I've hit a ball in a really long time. And I kind of stood up on it. And I was like, I mean, it's got to be a home run. And then I'm running and I see the center fielder who I've played with before, and he's an athletic freak, and I'm like, oh my god, he's sprinting to this ball, like it's not a homer. And then he kind of like jumped early, but they showed it on the TV, like if this is the top of the wall, it hit like legitimately like 3 inches below the top. I'm like, well, come on.
I mean, I'm not going to say I need you on 3 on that, but I might need you on 3 on that.
Stop.
Comes back hard off the wall. That's the one of the deepest parts of, I mean, you play in the deepest park in the world, but that's one of the deepest parts of any yard in the big leagues right there.
Yeah, that's out there. Yeah. That weekend was unbelievable though for Miggy.
So that did look sick when he got the base hit.
So the first game, we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we know that it's going to be like a crazy weekend. It's Miggy's last time going there. He started his career in Miami, like crazy. So the first day where we have BP, and usually like when we take BP, like not many fans are there. Like behind home plate, it's not crazy, but there's some. And we get there, and it's like a playoff game. Like, bro, the whole warning track behind home is absolutely mobbed. And like, I try to go get my bat. I have to like crawl through people like I'm at a club, like trying to like dance through people to get to the dugout. Crazy. And then Saturday was Venezuela night. So, I mean, Miggy being from Venezuela, especially, down there, like first AB, he gets a standing O, and it was the coolest. It was the biggest crowd since 2017, I think, for them.
How many?
34,000, I believe.
It was probably loud, and they were 34 too.
Bro, and it was loud. It was like And they don't sell. I'm pretty sure they don't sell the top bowl, and that whole top bowl for the most part was filled. And I mean, they had like music playing. It was like it was pretty special. And he hits a double his first AB. Like the place, it was incredible. He gets taken out. I think he walks. No, he gets a base hit his last AB, gets taken out. And I mean, it was special.
Do you think it's because of Venezuela night or because he played for Miami? Because I didn't realize this till the other day. He only played like 4 years in Miami, and that was like forever ago. Like, I don't feel like it was that long ago.
Won a World Series there. I mean, like,
true.
He was the truth when he was there.
I just didn't realize it was that long ago that he's played for the Tigers forever.
Yeah. I do think there's a huge appreciation for him in the Latin American community just for how good he's been.
It was like a Miggy weekend. Like it was his weekend down there. And I agree. And he has done, I mean, comes from, I forgot the town or the city from Venezuela, but like any game that we go to, people are having flags from Venezuela. Like it's special.
I mean, he's one of the best right-handed hitters of all time, and arguably the best player ever from Venezuela. I mean, they've had really, really good players, but he's at the top of that list as far as a hitter, and as far as like Latin American hitters all time,
Yeah.
He's top of that because he's one of the best right-handed hitters of all time in the game. So like it's just I know just when all of us have played with guys, whether they're from any Latin American country, right? They look up to Miggy, but the dudes from Venezuela, they worship Miggy.
Yeah.
Like he's like a god to them. Like I always felt that way about playing with Willie. Like Willie has such an appreciation for Miggy because he kind of set the stage and came before him, and those dudes who get to play in the World Baseball Classic team with them, like it's such a big deal. So that's really, really cool. And that for people who don't know or have never been to a game in Miami, it is a little bit different and when there's that many people, because they're playing music the whole game. There's like a club in left field playing rap music, but then there's also like sometimes there's legitimate bands, like marching bands, or like playing like drums and like trumpets and stuff in like right field, like in a corner. Like there's stuff going on the whole game. And when there's enough people there, it is a pretty crazy atmosphere.
Have you seen his like career numbers? I was just looking at Miggy's career numbers. They're just disgusting.
Dude. So anytime that he comes up at home, they'll have like, Miggy versus the Giants or whatever, and it hits like every fucking team is over 300.
That's what I mean. Like he's got over 3,000 hits, 500 homers. He's hitting 307 with a 903 OPS on his career. That'd be a great 1 year hitting 307, 903.
Bro, like the back end of his career, he's missed a good amount of time. Like on the IL, like a few times a year, not playing every day, not hitting third. I mean, like it's crazy. It's crazy what this man has done. And like even now, like you can see age, but like he'll like the other day he hits a ball like 104 down the right field line, just like catches it back here, has his patented one-handed finish, just drops the bat up there, and he gets on second. And it's just like, imagine this guy when he was playing every single day and just getting and like in the MVP race every year.
Insane.
So consistent too. I don't know if people talk about that enough. From 04 to 16, he's an all-star every year except 2 years in there. And the 2 years that he's not an all-star, he hits 292, 37 homers, 127 RBIs. That's one of the years he's not an all-star. The other year, he hits 324, 34 homers, 103 ribbies. Those are the 2 years he's not an all-star in there. Every other year from 04 to 16, he's an all-star. He's just a freak of nature. Every single year, he was just the best offensive player in the league for over a decade.
And 04 to 16, he drove in 100 runs every year except for the 1 year that he only played 119 games. Like it's just stupid production. And his career numbers are absolutely absurd. And I think that right now there isn't as an appreciation from probably the fan base right now for how good he was, because the game forgets so quickly, but like because the last couple of years, but that dude.
Zach, you
is
getting me tickets to his last game, America? Thanks,
Dude, we
man.
were talking about the
Appreciate
other
you.
day, like
I'm pumped. I'm pumped to come and just see it and play against him again. I haven't, it's been a couple years, and I never got to play against him like prime.
Yeah.
18 was the first time I played against him. I got to see it.
Do you guys go there, Ian, or do they go to you guys?
We go there.
You go there.
dude, he still gets obviously the biggest like the crowd still goes absolutely nuts, and he hates it. Like they basically forced him to have a standing ovation his first AB on Saturday. Like Jacob Stallings was like taking his time, and Miggy's like, "Come on, let's go." And Stallings was like, "Not having it, man. Here we go. Like, come on." Did his thing, and he was just like, "All right, let's go. Come on." He hates it.
Can we talk about?
He
Oh
going.
no, we lost Dakota, but we're going to persevere because the show must go on, right?
Yep.
And we're going to talk about while Dakota figures out his life. We're going to talk about HelloFresh. Fall's right around the corner, and HelloFresh here to help you plan the busy season ahead with tasty dishes delivered to your door. Simply choose your recipes and pick your delivery date, then lay back and enjoy the last days of summer knowing dinner is covered. You know what I don't love about that ad is they're already getting rid of summer. There's plenty of time left in summer. Okay. There's plenty of time. Plenty of time left in summer. Key to dinner time success is variety. HelloFresh keeps your taste buds on their toes. 40 chef crafted recipes to select from every week. Friends and family to fit and wholesome. You'll always find new and exciting recipes to try. You love 25% cheaper than takeout and less expensive than grocery shopping too. Just choose your recipes, receive fresh pre-portioned ingredients. The nice thing about the pre-portioned ingredients is they give you a little recipe. You have to use, I have to use a little bit of butter. I have to use a little bit of parsley. Well, you don't have to go to the grocery store and buy a whole thing because they give you just the right amount for the recipe. Huge saver of time.
Can I admit something about HelloFresh?
Yeah, you're back.
I made the enchiladas the other day. It's supposed to serve 4 people, and I ate the entire thing by myself.
You know what? That's because you were out there working hard, and you deserve that.
It was so good. It was delicious. It was so good, and I hated myself because there was so much food, but it was delicious.
At what point during the enchiladas did you know you were going to eat all the enchiladas?
When there was
point
like,
where you were like, I'm going to stop. And then you just were like, nah, I'll just keep going.
Well, there was like 4 left. And I was like, I mean, I could have that for lunch tomorrow. I'm like, I could probably get them down. I might as well. And I said, let's power through.
I love
HelloFresh.com/50compound. Use code 50compound for 50% off plus free shipping. 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh.com 50compound. Should we go straight to the trade deadline or
Nope. I had 3 things. I had 3 things before the trade deadline. First thing, the Shohei Day versus the Tigers versus our Go Tigers in a doubleheader. Just did it himself.
I'm out. So like we had that, like it's a long day. We had a travel day that day, and like at the end of the day, we got our ass kicked for 6 straight hours. Like it was just one of those days. It sucked. Like, but the only thing that we could really say was we got Shohei. Like we got Ohtani'd. Bro, the guy went out there threw a complete game shutout, 9 innings. It was hot, 85, humid, sun, like all of it. And then the next game does his thing, like DH in the next day or the next game, 2 homers. One of the 117 was one of them, hardest ball I've ever seen hit, like homer. And like Comerica, Ian, like right center, Dakota, too, like right center, you don't like
it's out there.
Like you don't stand up on balls out there.
No.
And he hit it, and I didn't move, and I just looked to see, like I was like, okay, that's gonna be a home, and I looked immediately to see how hard it was hit. It was like 116.9, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then he's running around the bases holding his side because he's cramping. And we're all like, oh, I wonder why he's cramping. Maybe because he just threw 110 pitches about 3 hours ago, or because he's just taking absolute G hacks. And
it's
like
funny how that works.
Dude, it's absolutely insane. He hit an Oppo homer too over the bullpen. Like the guy, he was rounding second on the second homer. And I like remember like just watching him, and I thought to myself, I was like, this is absolutely insane. Like,
think to yourself, that's Baby Ruth.
yeah, like that's the best player to ever play the game. I think I will go to that extent. Like, this is the best season anybody has ever had in the history of the game.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not. It can't be close, right?
It's not.
I mean, it
Right,
can't
like,
be
he's-
close. I mean, in modern baseball history, it's absolutely unreal.
Zach, you got to face him. What was it like getting in the box? You got to walk off.
I did, yeah. And I just missed fucking hanging slider the first AB too, Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
No, but like, so he has, his slow wind up, and it's really hard. Ian, have you faced him?
No.
It's like, it's hard to time because like he'll do his leg kick and then like hold it for a few seconds and then go. He has crazy extension, and then his heater cuts a lot, but he also throws a lot of sweepers and sliders. So the way his heater looks, like with how much it cuts, it has almost like a side spin dot on it. So by the time you're like, okay, is this a heater or is it a sweeper because it has a dot on it? Or if is it a cutter, is it a slider? It's already like, I fouled the first pitch back and I caught it like back here and it fouled it off of, like, went behind me. And I'm like, I mean, that thing moved this much at 97, 98. And then he's just like, whoop-pow, like doesn't fall into any like patterns, and his sweeper moves a ridiculous amount. And then he's throwing a splitter and he's still throwing 99 in the 8th inning. And it's just like, what the fuck?
Did he strike you out?
No,
No, he didn't.
Can't get the
Absolutely
kid.
not.
no.
Absolutely
No
not.
chance.
I
And
saw
you
like, I will say, like, I saw him pretty well. The first AB, I just missed a slider he threw me. I think I hit it like 98 at too high of a launch. And then walked, and then first pitch, he got me with like this looking at second base this whole time. And then as soon as the clock hit 1, he threw me a sweeper, and it was like a good pitch to be on go for. And I was just a little out in front, but that's the thing. Somebody said that they were watching the game. I think one of our pitchers from inside, and they said like every single pitch was just crossing the strike zone, like in the line every single time. It was either
You
off
don't-
the plate
dotting.
or just dotting.
You don't love when that happens.
No.
Ian, how about that? Or actually not even Ian. We're gonna go to someone that cares a little more. Tom, how about that Talkman robbery to win a game? Tom's favorite player.
My only complaint was to the camera crew. I wanted to see Ian's reaction to it because they cut to the mound and he was pumping his chest, but I wanted to see how Ian reacted because Talkman was obviously doing his whole flex in the outfield. I wanted to see Ian's reaction because I feel like Ian would have just kind of been like sheepishly laughing because I don't know. Ian's not a huge like flexing guy. That's not who he is.
No,
it
I got
was-
there being no
Yeah.
chance Ian was flexing.
No, I wanted to see.
Well, I
Ian's reaction.
didn't make the catch, so I definitely wasn't flexing. But I did. Yeah, I did. I was pretty fired up. I was running over there in case
Hit the wall.
something were to happen where the ball hit the wall. And I could kind of see the whole thing playing out. St. Louis is a nice place in left where you can see the whole play in front of you, and you can kind of see where the ball is going to hit on the wall. And the ball was carrying very well that night because it was so hot and humid. And so a guy, Gorman, had just hit one kind of right to the base of the wall at like 99 off the bat. And that does not really happen in St. Louis. Usually you have to like get it to even come close in center. Like that's where balls go to die. And so Burleson hit that ball, and it was kind of up there. I think it was like 100 off the bat, maybe 101. And it was kind of up there, and I'm running, I'm going, oh my God, this might go. And then Talk goes over the wall. It gets it. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. And I'm running over there, and he's losing his shit. And then I kind of gave him like one little like bump, like a yeah. And then I just let him have his moment.
Yeah.
And then I there's a picture I think of me behind him smiling as he's like fired up going back towards the infield. But
That's what it looked like in the video. Like he like was going nuts, and you like kind of like met up with him, and then you're like, all right,
yeah, it's your time, man.
you go ahead.
Yeah,
Ian,
you go ahead.
I
Go
saw
left.
something. Was it in 2017? Was it Leonis Martin did the same thing?
Albert.
Oh, Almora did.
I think Albert went over the wall and got one in 17 to end the game.
Yeah, it
Jonas
was
Martin might have.
I thought I saw a video of like you
The only smart team might have. There was a time
in the
when
same position, like you were just like, holy fuck.
Yeah, there was a time we did end a game on a home run robbery in St. Louis before. I'm pretty sure. I thought Albert went over the wall and got one there. But Leonis Martin might have ended the game on one. Do you have a?
It was the Leonis Martin in 2017.
Nice, Zach.
I can't take credit for that. I saw it on social media.
Nah, you knew it. You just ball knowledge.
September 28th.
Yes.
I think that was after we had clinched too. I think we clinched
Correct.
like maybe the day before. And then so me and Leonis Martin were playing the next day. And then we won on that. It was kind of like a little extra.
That's awesome.
Do you want to go to the trade deadline or would you like to talk about something else?
Depends if you want to talk about Michaelis.
I mean, I don't have much to say on the subject besides the fact that
Well, we should say what happened.
okay. Well, would you want me to tell the audience what happened? Do you think they don't know? I'll tell them.
Yeah.
So what happened was first inning, we're playing the Cardinals. First game of the series. And
I believe, I think it was the first.
Yeah. And 2-0 count. There's a cutter kind of down and in. And when you get a pitch, when I get a pitch, I have a long backswing as it is, but when I get a pitch in, sometimes I like clear space and kind of end up with a little bit longer backswing behind me. And then when the catcher comes in to get the ball, especially because up and in's more high and away, down and in's kind of more getting in there. And so what happened was down and away or in and down and in. I took a healthy 2-0 hack at it. Backswing whacked Willie in the helmet. Wilson Contreras whacked him in the helmet. I think the helmet compressed and there's those little air slits, and one of the air slits got him and nicked his head. He was bleeding pretty good. Felt really bad about it. Obviously, Wilson and I played together for 6 years. We're good friends, shared a lot of memories and moments together, a lot of love for him. And so to see him on the ground bleeding was horrible. And he's all right. He played 2 days. Well, he DH the next day. He was actually, can I just say this? This guy, the trainers, he's got blood in his hand. Trainers out there with like a towel, like inspecting. I mean, he had to have gotten stitches or staples or something in his head. The trainer's like, all right, come on. He's like, I'm staying in the game. Trainer's like, well, you're gushing blood from your head. And he's like, no, I'm staying in. Like, you can't take me out of this game. I'm staying in the game.
Trainer's like, legally, we have to take you out of this game.
He's like, I don't think we're allowed, even if I don't think we can. And he's like, he was like fighting for not a short amount of time to stay in that game. But he's doing all right. He's doing fine. He's wearing a different catcher's mask right now. But he caught maybe the last game of the series, the last 2 series. But what happens next is 2-1 count, fastball up and in, fastball off my butt. And then I get to first, pitcher's ejected in the first inning because the umpires deemed there was intent.
I did see post game, and this is the only thing I agreed with about what like anyone on the Cardinals said about it. I think it was Marmol said after the game, like, if it was intent, why didn't he get a warning after the first one? And I did agree with that. I thought the ump should have given him a warning after the first one, but they didn't, which makes sense. But then, like, after you do it the second time, it's like, yeah, I mean, that was clearly on purpose. Like, we got to throw you out. And the league obviously agreed because he got 5 games for it.
Yeah. I think once they throw somebody out for it, they have to give him something. I don't know what the rule book says on it, but it was definitely an interesting way to start the series. And we won that game.
I just thought it was crazy. Tom, feel free to chime in. I thought it was crazy that he hit you at all, because I didn't think it was anything that warranted like retaliation. Like, it seemed like a retaliatory thing. And like
the only people that really didn't like it were the Cardinals broadcast.
That's what, that was insane what they
literally
were saying.
Anybody else is just like, bro, you literally saw that it wasn't on purpose. They hugged. And then their their broadcast was like, "Oh, come on, read the room, like know the game."
Yeah.
Like, bro, what?
They said the umps were like doing too much, like trying to get involved. Like that's the way baseball's played. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
Dude,
what?
When the Cubs scored 3 runs in that inning, I believe this is what I heard on Twitter that the Chip Carey, the broadcaster, said after one, umpires in Cubs 3, Cardinals coming to bat.
oh my god.
So they were really fired up. It was funny, Dakota, you asked me about it. I was at my parents' house upstate, and it was like the number was like one of the top stories on Sports Center. And my mom walked in, she's like, "What's going on with Happ?" So I had to try to explain the whole situation to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Why are they mad?" And I was like, I don't really know. Willie and Ian hugged. It seemed like everyone was fine. The situation was settled. And then, I whatever, you want to defend your guy, that's fine. But you have to understand, if you don't hit him on that first try, that you got one chance at it.
That's
really.
what I'm like. I listen, I understand like old baseball, it's different now. And like I agree. Like there's some things that like aren't played the same way. Like I've talked about it before. Us as infielders, like we are so protected when it comes to a double play, like everything. But like you said, Dakota, if you don't get more than one shot, like if you throw at them, you miss, I'm sorry. Like that's on you. And especially if it's up and in too. Like, and I just don't think that warranted. Like if you keep doing it, if it happened 3 times and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Hey,
that's what
maybe throw at him. But if it happened once and like, Ian, I don't think that's happened a bunch to you. Not that we've seen. Like if you have a history of it, like, all right, let's send a message. But
I agree. I'm a firm believer in like if you're gonna do something, which this didn't even warrant anything in the first place, but if you are gonna do anything, you get one shot.
Yeah.
And if you miss that shot, it's like that's it.
The other thing is going up and in is obviously.
Yeah. And I don't think he meant to, because he recorrected with the next one, hit him right in the butt. But it was like I don't feel like anyone else in the entire stadium was like mad other than the announcers and Mekkes, because everyone else was like, what? Like, why are you hitting him? Like he didn't try to hit Willie in the head.
And then ultimately, what does that do for the Cardinals? They're a team that's scuttling right now. They lose Mekkes in the first inning. Cubs score 3 runs. They go on to win the game. Like, and it's over what? It's over an accident. You just lost your starting pitcher over an accident. I mean, that's, this obviously we've talked about how the infielders are more protected and the game's changing. I think it's probably for the best. I think baseball policing itself was always a dangerous thing. And I think this is probably a better strategy, but I'm fine. If you want to take your shot, take your one shot. You missed it. You got to move on.
Yeah.
And that's it. They didn't hit on the one shot.
Can I ask one question really quick?
Oh yeah. I have one last thing too about this.
Mine's a little different. When you see these old clips of guys getting taken out halfway down the line on double plays and just like football tackled in the middle of the baseline.
Yeah.
And then guys like, I'm going to drag bunt so the pitcher can pick it up so I can kill him. Did anyone get hurt? I never am like, he dislocated his shoulder and his collarbone is touching his ear. Like I never have seen, like, are these guys getting hurt or were they just made of?
They're doing form tackles in the base path.
No one was getting hurt when this was happening. Like these guys get up off the field and run off the field. Were they just taking so many drugs,
bleeding from the mouth, and they're just jogging off the field like they're fine.
What's going on?
It's mayhem. That would
mayhem.
Could you imagine if that was today? Like you slide into second and like you're putting your cleats into Zack's ankle, being like, you're not turning 2.
Sorry, man. Part of the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gushing from my groin. Can I get a Band-Aid?
Just lowering, and not even sliding. I'm just lowering his shoulder right through it.
Yeah, and then you're just checking. Hey, man, you all right? Good. All right, I gotta go.
You good? Okay.
Ian, my last question, or I don't know if it's happened to Zack, but like, is it a terrible feeling like walking into the box, being like, especially after the first one was up and in, being like, he's trying to hit me, like, and then you're just standing there like,
That's the second time. That's the second time I've been hit on purpose.
Wasn't your first one like your rookie year?
Yeah, first year. that was Lackey's fault though. Lackey hit 4 or 5 White Sox players, including Jose Abreu twice, and then I came up the next inning.
They said we're going to send a message to him.
It was this righty who wasn't afraid of a fight, and he threw the first one like 94 right in there, and I didn't know this. I didn't even think through it. Like the first one was in there, and I just got out of the way, and then I went, "Oh shit, he's trying to hit me. He's gonna hit me." And so the next one, I was like, he hit me kind of right in the thigh, 95. He got 1 more mile an hour, which is nice. And I had an absolute welt, but I got to first, and Brendan Hyde was our bench coach at the time. And Hyder, as soon as I get down there, Hyder's in my ear, "Where you're running first pitch." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you're running first pitch. I guess that's like what you do." And I'm like, okay, coach. And so I get out there, I slide in the second. Everyone in the dugout's like, "Yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, baby." Okay.
I haven't been hit like intentionally, but there's been a few times where I've walked up and I'm like, I think I could catch one of the numbers here. Like if it's like for a homer I hit before, or like just wrong place, wrong time, leading off an inning after one of their guys gets hit. And I'm just like tying the elbow guard a little bit higher or a little bit tighter, like making sure my helmet's on all good. I'm like, all right, like, but that first pitch, if you don't know if it's coming at you or not, is like, you're so uneasy in there. It's like you're on your heels, you're like falling back.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is like get ready to hit and like commit to something, and then like because then you really can't get out of the way. So
Right.
like if you think it might happen, it's just like but John Lackey did have a very nice bottle of wine and Pro V1s in my locker the next day for that. So that was a nice result.
Hey man, that's on me. Sorry about that.
Before we move on to the deadline, can I talk about something? Can I talk about little Bruce Ball?
Oh yeah.
My batting gloves, Lars Nootbaar's batting gloves, Harrison Bader's batting gloves, Bruce Bolt batting gloves. BruceBolt.us for the best batting gloves in the game. I've actually seen some guys trying them out in our clubhouse. A friend of the pod who hasn't been on yet, Seiya Suzuki, was actually trying some Bruce Bolts, which I thought was interesting, who he got from Lars Nootbaar, because Lars played for Team Japan. They're boys, right. Even though Seiya wasn't on Team Japan. They're buddies, and they text, and they were talking batting gloves made of super light. Oh, I'm actually going to talk about the shorts now. I just went on a little bit of a roll on the batting gloves, but I'm going to talk about the shorts because they're made of super light 4-way stretch material. They're perfect for BP, working out at the gym, wearing them to school, or just hanging out. Basically Lululemon Vuori type quality, but made for athletes. 5 inches, 7 inches. Dakota wears the 5. I wear the 7.
Bingo.
Built-in boxer briefs, and a bunch of colors: black, gray, red, all kinds of stuff. Go buy yours. BruceBolt.us. BruceBolt.us. Best gear in the game.
Ian, are you a little threatened by Lars Nootbaar texting Seiya?
Yes.
Coming for your friend?
I'm going to be very honest about it. We're sitting in the cage, and he's wearing Bruce Bolts in the cage, and I go, Where'd you get those? I would give you some. Where'd you get those? He goes, Lars. I go, what?
He went to another team.
What are we talking about? And then
that break your heart a little bit.
Broke one. And then I go, what? You guys friends? He goes, yeah, we're friends. We text. And I go, you don't text me, man. Okay, you're not texting me, asking me stuff. What's going on? You're texting him, talking batting gloves. I'm not getting texts. I text this guy in the off season, can't get an answer because he didn't have his American phone.
He's hanging out with Lars.
He didn't have his American phone turned on. Okay, all off season. I'm going, Lars probably has your Japanese number, man. This is ridiculous. I'm still hurt, as you can tell.
A little shook up. You're a little shook up about it.
I couldn't believe that. I've been trying to be his best friend since he got here. And fucking Lars breaks in. Now they're boys. Ridiculous.
It's tough
out here. Can we talk about the deadline? We're in St. Louis. Can I just say this one really quick thing? We're in St. Louis. I was sitting on Sunday, but getting ready to come in the game to pinch hit. And as the game progresses, St. Louis keeps trading right-handed pitchers. So I'm like getting ready, and like with our lineup, the way it was set up, because a lefty started, there probably wasn't going to be a spot for me to pinch hit right-handed. So I'm like getting ready to pinch hit lefty against a righty. So I'm like, all right, there's Gallegos comes in, and I'm like, maybe, but it's too early. And then I'm like, all right, Stratton and Hicks are both like guys I would come in for. Like 6th inning, Hicks gets traded. I'm like, all right, not coming in for Hicks. And then like the 8th inning, they're trying to stretch out. Somebody threw 2. I can't remember which righty threw 2, but they were trying to get more innings out of him. And then I'm going, all right, Stratton's going to close this thing out. 8th inning, Stratton gets traded. And then Jojo Romero finishes it. And it's like during the game, they were just trading away their bullpen. I think that was the first time in game I'm like watching guys get dealt from the opposite team's pen.
Were they
player by player?
Did they walk across the field when they got traded? I didn't know they got traded during the game.
No, I don't think so.
Got it.
That'd be kind of hilarious if they just left the bullpen. Like,
We
there's other ways
we heard
around,
about it
but,
from.
like, what if they're like just had to walk all the way across the field?
Dude, I just saw.
We heard
Go
about
ahead.
it on TV. We didn't like see it happen.
I just saw a clip. Austin Jackson, when he was on the Tigers years ago, got pulled out in the 7th inning of a game in the middle of an at bat. He was playing center field. Rajai Davis goes out for him, literally like a 2-1 count.
Oh my God.
Beats him out. Yeah.
Because you can't, you can't risk it. Like they run for a ball, dive, break
Except
a finger.
when Puig was in the middle of a fight when he got traded.
Yeah. He doesn't even run the roster anymore.
Well, the Mets the other day, they had Robertson up, but in the 8th inning, and then they had an hour and a half rain delay. They come out. Brooks Raley's now going to pitch the 9th. Everyone, my dad, the tournament, he's like, "What happened to Robertson? That's weird." 5 minutes later, Robertson to the Marlins.
Yeah. Ian, on your trade deadline days, do you guys just kind of like sit around in the clubhouse, or is it just like because like last year was my
It's today, right?
Yeah.
6 p.m.
I remember
6
last
p.m.
year.
Eastern.
Yep.
Oh, Ian's nervous.
So on the 21 deadline, it was a lot of
Oh yeah, that was a sell.
sitting around because we knew it was going to happen, and Riz got traded before we left, and then we flew to DC. So Riz was the first one to get traded, and he got moved before the team left, and then we left, and then guys got traded the next day. And that was a lot of like, this is going to be really sad and kind of a late show up. I don't think we took BP. It was just kind of like, and it was really emotional because that was like the years of playing with those dudes, and like the Cubs as we knew it changed very quickly. So that was like a really emotional one. 22, that I was involved in, at least rumored to be involved in. So, and we had an off day the day before, which was the worst off day of my career. And I was just on my phone, just like every 30 seconds, just nothing. And Nico and I went to see a movie, and I'm usually pretty good at not checking my phone during the movies. I had it in my lap, and every 3 minutes I would just check. There's not traded. Same thing, late show up, didn't take BP that day, and just kind of waited until Rossi had finally, at like a minute before the deadline, said you're not getting traded.
Ian, when you're involved in that, how are you, like, are you calling your agent? Are you just looking at Twitter? What are you doing to try to?
Definitely talking to your agent to hear if they've heard anything, but like, honestly, at that point, it's all rumors. And the other thing is, like, I don't think GMs have time to call agents because they're just calling each other. So, there's stuff like in free agency or if you're talking about an extension or the draft, like, yeah, your agent's super involved and they keep getting calls and back and forth and everything. But like the deadline, nobody's like calling your agent to go like, hey man, we just had a call with the Blue Jays and we're thinking about it, but we don't know. It's like, we'll let you know when it happens. And unless there's like a really good relationship with an assistant GM or somebody that's in there that can fire a quick text and just say, hey, this is possible. Like, we didn't have really much information at all. So it was like, you don't really know what you hear rumors, but you don't really know what's happening. And so it's just a lot of refreshing Twitter and for no reason and freaking out.
What was the movie you saw last year? Do you remember?
Thor,
Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. Good
Love
movie.
and Thunder. Me and Nico at a random theater in the burbs of St. Louis.
Yeah, today should be interesting with us because we have some bullpen pieces. We have Eduardo Rodriguez, Lorenzen.
Lorenzen.
Do you think
And-
that the Tigers would trade Lang or Foles?
Dude, I've like thought about this, but both of them, they're so young, they're so controllable, and like Foles is having an absolutely unbelievable year. Lang had an absolutely unbelievable start. He has like 15 or 20 saves right now. Like, you know, like their ceiling is so high. And for a team that, is, I don't want to say, like next year is like a window for us to be pretty competitive,
Mhm.
and it's like those are two staples to our bullpen right now. And it's like, okay, do you risk trading them for guys down the road, or do you hold on to them and then just hopefully make some moves in the offseason? It's weird. Like, I think you have to do your due diligence on them. Like, if somebody calls with an offer that is out of this world, I think
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
entertain it, right? Like, what did Theo said years ago? He was like, I will trade a prospect for, anybody. I mean, they're not prospects, but it's just kind of Scott Harris came from the Cubs. He has
Well, I think the example is like last year, we were setting up to be good the following seasons, right? But we dealt Efros at the deadline because somebody needed him, and he was young, he was controllable, and really, really good, but they felt like a starting pitcher fit better into what they were doing, and like I don't think that that's out because relief. There's so much volatility in relief pitchers, and I think that that's something that GMC and they're so valuable in the moment. So sometimes not afraid to trade them, but those guys have been unbelievable. It would really help
and
you.
like they're
learning
learning to throw in big situations. Like both of them are throwing leverage like 100% of the time. So like they've had some big games under their belt, and it's like it's only going to get bigger for them. So like, okay, maybe this year they just keep doing this, and then next year when it comes down to some really big games, they're like, oh, been here.
This is a terrible question, and I don't know the answer to it. Who was the lefty closer the Tigers had last year?
Gregory Soto,
So
Where is he now?
the Phillies.
Philly.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I just thought of him, and I was like, yeah, where'd that guy go?
Yeah.
John Heyman, by the way, reporting right now the Dodgers are in hot pursuit of Eduardo Rodriguez, and they've also been discussing Verlander.
Did you see like the Padres were in on Eduardo Rodriguez and Justin Verlander? I'm like, Padres are nuts. They don't care.
Yeah,
They're gonna buy
dude.
everybody. You said Dodgers, right, Tom?
Yes, the Padres are, by the way, 0-10 in extra inning games this year. I just
I
saw
saw that.
52 and 55, but 0-10 in extra inning games.
That's crazy. Ian, Cubbies made a couple moves.
Cubbies made a couple moves, which we should talk about.
Candy.
The Candy Man, Jamer Candelario. So Candy and I played together in 17.
Mm-hmm.
Triple ball, we were together. Both got called up at the same time. And we played that half of the year together in the big leagues in the choke. And then he gets moved with Paredes and maybe somebody else for
Just those two.
Justin Wilson and Alex Avila. High compliment because Al Avila, the GM of the Tigers, traded his son for Candy. So that's like the highest compliment you can get. Obviously, Candy goes there and then has a good career there, and then goes to DC and is raking. And he's crushed right-handed pitching. We really need that.
Dude, he's been somebody who's hit like
He's
last
hit,
year.
dude.
Like last year, he didn't. I think just a change of scenery was huge for him. But like the year before in 21, I think he had 48 doubles or 45 doubles. Like, and if you play in a normal park, like those turn into homers.
Yeah.
And like he's always hit, man.
He's always hit. It's great. And he has the ability to play first and third. Obviously, he's a good third baseman. I think he's going to play first tonight in the first action. Switch hitter, been really good. And it's going to be great. He's going to fit in right in the middle of our lineup. He probably hits, I think he might be hitting 5 tonight. And then we'll see what they do versus lefties and righties and how that shakes. But valuable for us. And then we got a side armor from Kansas City. You face that guy?
From New York. Yeah, faced him a bunch. Faced him in AAA. He would always come in. Yeah, we always joke like he always faces Javi. Like always comes in. He's good, man. Like he's funky. Those firm. He has a crazy story. I remember reading.
You know where I faced him? He was playing third base for the Maryland Terrapins.
Really?
He was drafted as an infielder.
Wow.
Yeah, I think our pitching Our pitching department will be
Yeah, they're
all
gonna
over that
be
one and excited to
He throws
work on his stuff.
like 94, 95 from down there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he's gross.
Yeah.
You know what I want to talk about real quick? ERC. ERC. Employee retention credits, a government tax incentive that helps small businesses like Connect Roasters and thousands of others in the Midwest get back up to $26,000 per employee for overpayment of payroll taxes during the pandemic. If you're a business owner with 5 to 500 W-2 employees who continued to pay taxes and employ staff during the pandemic, recover the payroll taxes you overpaid. ERC. ERC. Omega was recently named the #1 best ERC company for getting your ERC funds by Merchant Maverick. Even if you got a PPP loan, don't worry about it. There's still time to find out if you qualify and file your claim. Call 800-643-CUBS or visit smallbizcashback.com/Cubs, smallbizcashback.com/Cubs for a free consultation. ERC. Today will be a pretty crazy day with trade deadline. It's going to be interesting to see who adds, who subtracts. It's always an interesting time of year because when you're playing contenders down the stretch, you're like, God damn it, these guys got like 4 new players that are really good.
Yeah.
And if you're playing somebody who's selling down the stretch, you're like, thank God they got rid of like those dudes. It's great. I think the Cubbies are probably going to do something else.
We got an inside source there. Inside source, Ian Happ says Cubbies will make another move.
I was running around yesterday trying to figure out if we actually got candy. Like, did I get candy? What's going on? Candy?
I loved the Angels moves.
Dude,
Going
that's
to
so
get
fucking cool
Giolito
for them to like.
And then Grichuk and Crone.
So
Last time we talked about them possibly selling Ohtani. They said, "Fuck that,
They
we're going
said-
the other way," and I love
We're
it.
going all in.
I've heard of like both sides of this, and it's like you could have revamped your minor league system. Totally agree. But if you trade him, you're out of the sweepstakes to re-sign him, which again, you might not even be in there now. But I mean, their lineup, again, they beat the shit out of us for 6 hours the other day. Trout's not playing. They add a few more bats and they add a few more bullpen guys. Like you never know.
I like going for it.
Yeah, why not?
I love it. They're only
You're not-
3 out, 3 games back.
Yeah.
Might as
And they
well.
have the best player in the world, and the second best player in the world is going to be coming back at some point.
How about the fires? I mean, they don't want to use the word fire sale. They just happen to be selling every player on their team. But
Well,
it's not
here's the
fire
thing.
sale.
Here's the thing that you have to think about with them. They're paying so much in luxury tax penalties. There's a 90% tax on every dollar that they're paying over the cap.
It's a lot.
So, and that's like $100 million over the cap. So basically for the $100 million they're over, they're paying an extra 90 on top of that. So like, if you look at Verlander's contract or Scherzer's, they're paying him $40 million, 42, I think it is. So his 42 essentially becomes like 70. So even if they pay down the number, just to get his half of that off is like double. So them shedding salary is actually clearing space for them to go do more next year. And it's actually double beneficial, even if they just get half of it off the books, that it isn't like money, times 90% on top of it. So that's kind of why, it looks like they're paying down the salary and it's kind of crazy, but they're essentially paying for prospects and they have the ability to do that because of their payroll. And so, they're saying, yeah, take the guy, we'll pay down some of the number, but it helps them and they get prospects. So it's an interesting thing. I think they will be right back into buyer mode and competing next year. But an interesting way to do it.
Maybe it's just me, but the team I feel like I don't hear enough about is Rangers, and they have their rotation is disgusting.
And they swang it. I mean, they're
So
arguably
bang
the best-
it, bro.
Oh.
They bang.
arguably the best team in the NFL.
No, 100%. Their lineup, but I'm saying like they went and got Scherzer, and they already had like Martin Perez, Evaldi, he's hurt right now. DeGrom's hurt right now, but like
They went and got another pitcher.
John
too.
Gray's there. Like that's gross.
What was the other arm they got? Get another starter. Tom. Who was it?
I'm looking.
Clean it up.
It was Montgomery.
Jordan Montgomery. Boom.
Jordan
And Chris
Montgomery.
Stratton.
Former Yankee.
And Chris Stratton.
Tom. 60 seconds on the Yankees. Ready to go.
I decline.
They're
Good.
done. Season's over.
60 seconds. Go.
Season's over.
Really tough series in Baltimore. I was able to watch almost all the games this weekend for like start to finish, which I normally don't get to do. I'm hoping, honestly, that they move on from Bader and IKF. Those are two guys on expiring contracts. I want them to sell. I saw Jake say this, that it would be a mistake to stay pat. Either they need to add something or they need to sell. I hope they sell because this is not a championship team. I'll say this, and Ian, cover your ears. Anthony Rizzo is
Don't do it.
really bad.
I'm not putting it
now
out there. Nope.
for
We're
2
not
months.
going to talk about that. Can
Okay.
I ask you a question really quick? I'm going to ask you a really quick question. My really quick question is,
You got notifications on, by the way.
Julie texted me. If they hold pat and say that adding the guys that are injured is like deadline acquisitions, how mad will you be? 10
They're going
seconds.
to do that. They always do that. Of course they do that. Rizzo hitting 168, by the way.
Nope. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to go. We're going to move on, and we're going to do screen time.
Real quick.
We're going to do screen time presented by Sloan.
Ian, hang on. One thing. I like what Tom said. Because I asked Ian if he thought the Cubs would be buyers or sellers. I don't think any team in the league, like, I don't think you can just like do nothing. Like, I think you either have to sell your expiring contracts and get something in return, or you have to go get players. Like, I don't understand doing nothing. Like, that just means you wasted a whole year.
I saw a tweet and they said, like, this is exactly what Candy was signed for. And it's great. Like, great for both parties. Like,
100%.
He has 1 year contract. Like, they don't have the window to win right now. All good. Like, hey, we're going to sign you to trade you. Played well enough for a trade. All good for both parts.
That's Rich Hill that's Rich Hill in Pittsburgh right now too. Like, they signed him, and it's like, we signed you to trade you at the deadline.
Yeah, and we did it last year, and we had a bunch of, whether it was Givens or Robertson, or we had 1 year contracts with guys, and if it worked perfectly, we had a chance to compete.
Mhm.
But you set yourself up to get some prospects back in return, and like, as much as it stinks for the fan base that they only get to see half a year and then it's kind of washed, like, that is not a bad way to do it as you're trying to get back to a place where you feel like the organization can go compete year after year.
Yeah, but I agree with Tom in that you can't just do nothing.
I also agree. You have to make a decision.
Yeah.
I think because they are still, and Tom, maybe you're going to be mad at me because they are, whatever it is, 5 or 6 games over 500, and they do have some guys coming back, and they are the New York Yankees. I think they should go try to get a couple pieces, and and maybe that's a buy-sell situation where you say, here are these guys on expiring contracts. Let's just see if we can get rid of them, and then, add in other smaller ways with some other prospects that I just feel like every team has to have the ability to go into their prospect depth and go like, I think we know something about this guy that other teams don't, and he's overvalued. Let's just get it and then get some major league talent.
By the way,
we have to do Sloan screens.
Number of Yankees right now that are having OPS above 100, OPS plus of above 100, other than Aaron Judge, and the entire team, 1. Gleyber Torres at 106. Nobody else in that team is currently an above average major league hitter, which kind of explains everything about the Yankees right now. Sorry to your friend.
Sloan's the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems, companies at the forefront of the green building movement, and provides smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water-efficient products, including flushometers, faucets, sink systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit sloan.com. Tom loves the Yanks. He's wearing the hat today because he supports the team. What are your screen times?
455.
Rough one.
That's even with a bus trip too. 455. That's pretty good.
Mine was an off day yesterday where I did not really leave my hotel room.
Don't want to hear about it. 636 for Zack. That is a 636 for Zack.
Ugh.
I stayed up till 2 in the morning. Too doesn't count.
Tom beat him.
Tom, 538 is a good day for you. You crushed Zack. I was at 353. presented by Sloan. I don't know if you guys can see my bars, but the consistency of Sunday and Monday, that's just consistent screen time right there. That was
That is. That's
Those are within
minute
the
by
Dakota,
minute.
Dakota. Screen time NFL Sundays are coming quickly.
Oh, that's what I was going to say in the beginning of the show when Ian said like summer's still going. I go, fall's right around the corner, baby.
You know
and
what's
that means
crazy? You know what's
football.
crazy about that is I feel like we still have a lot of summer to go, but kids are going back to school in like a week or two. Which
College
is
starts a lot
bananas.
sooner now, yeah. And college football is like a month away, 3 weeks. It's pretty close. So
I think I'm getting in. I think I'm getting in on the fantasy league this year, boys.
You're gonna need our help. We'll talk. We'll help you out.
Episode 169 of the Compound Podcast could be 68, could be 69. We don't know because Tom
69
doesn't get
for
the
sure.
episodes right. 169 of the Compound Podcast presented by Parse Ram. Go to Binny's, get your Parse, make a pina colada. We'll see you next week.